What's going on, you guys? Today is Monday, November 5th, 2018. So we are seeing some green across the board for the first time in a while, so I want to spend some time talking about that, as well as jump into some daily news items today as well. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we can just start the video. In terms of price, I think 6,000 has held up very well, knock on wood. This market is showing to be pretty resilient in a lot of ways, especially over the last 10 years. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular have shown their resilience many times over, and its ability to come back. And so I don't think that's changed. I don't think that ever will change, or at least anytime soon. And so with that being said, I think it's very possible 6K might be like the ultimate bottom. Again, like I've been saying, I think 4K, 5K are also possibilities, but the fact we haven't really seen those yet could be an indicator, and there are plenty of news items coming this and next month that could push the price much higher. And the essentially non-existent volatility and stability in cryptocurrency, well, the very much stability and non-existent volatility, kind of leads me to think more along the lines that we could see an upward trajectory as opposed to a downward one. It's very possible that we could see a breakout within the next few months, and I'm talking about like an actual breakout, like a massive one, not kind of these fake out breakouts that we've seen, but an actual healthy, legitimate return to a bull market. If you've been following along in the space, you know how positive everything has been, how much great news and adoption, really everything you could hope for in the market so far has been happening in terms of actual adoption, in terms of what people are saying, in terms of what financial institutions are doing and making plans to do. So in that sense, we only have to be optimistic. The only thing that has yet to reflect is the price. And I feel kind of silly saying that, seeing as how Bitcoin is much higher than it started off 2017 as. Basically, it's looking still very healthy, except for, the past 10 months. However, again, I think myself and many people consider this to be like a very exciting time in terms of the price. It's consolidated so much, and I think there's a ton of upside that we're going to see very soon. So yesterday was pretty exciting. Had a nice little jump in Bitcoin's price, as well as the entire market. More in particular, altcoins were moving a bit. Bitcoin seeming to find a little resistance right around $65 or so, $100 right at the 50-day moving average. If we jump to the 7-day global market cap, you can see we've increased the global market cap over the last week. From right around 200 billion to around 212, so about a $10 billion market cap, which is significant for the last few weeks in particular because there's so little volatility. And that leads me into this article here published by Michael J. Casey on CoinDesk. So it's titled, "Bitcoin's True Stress Test Is Yet to Come." So the article starts off talking about cryptocurrency stability, especially compared to traditional financial markets. It goes into detail here. The NASDAQ lost 9.2%, the Dow Jones lost 6.9, the S&P about 5.1, and riskier markets such as tech stocks and emerging markets were hit even harder than that. It goes on to say here that the general impression produced by last year's wild crypto bubble was that Bitcoin and all other such tokens exist at the extreme end of the speculative class of assets. So if world markets became risk averse, similar to how they did last month, the thinking was that people would dump Bitcoin along with every other high risk asset in their flight to dollars. Instead, up until Monday, October 30th, when Bitcoin suffered a $200 drop, it was more or less stable. By crypto standards, it was a boring month. And so really the point of this article is the stress test, meaning could cryptocurrency be used as a hedge? The article then goes into why cryptocurrency had a very non-volatile month in October, why it was so quiet. This article points out one way to think about it is to reflect on the changing nature of the Bitcoin investment community, where it can be divided into speculators and people that are holding long term. It says here the speculators who have dominated the community since last year have gone. Certainly the newcomers who drove the price of Bitcoin to its ridiculous peak of around $20,000 in December. You know the type, your mother, your cousin, or that high school friend you hadn't spoken to in years who asked for tips on what coins to buy. And then it pretty much just says the remaining community of people holding right now are people who are true believers and the people that are in it for the long term. And if that's represented by what we've seen so far with 6,000 being a solid floor thus far, I think that's a pretty good plateau, especially because the price of Bitcoin was not anywhere near that when 2017 started. So it goes into a little scenario here. If a 2008-like nasty financial crisis morphed into a full-blown economic crisis, will cryptocurrency diehards resist liquidating their Bitcoin assets? Basically, it says it comes down to their real-world economic profiles, saying, if they hang on, they'll give Bitcoin an impressive show of stability. Amid economic chaos, such resilience would look quite impressive to the outside world, potentially drawing another round of newcomers into the mix. Basically, the point of that is just that if cryptocurrency would continue this non-volatile and stable path that it's been showing the past month or two, especially in an economic downturn, that could kind of further validate crypto's use case and attract more people to it. Again, that's kind of setting it itself up for another opportunity for a unique type of bull run. I don't think that would be anything predicated on news, but it would be more reliant on its value and its capability of being used as a hedge during a financial downturn. So I guess that's just another way of saying there are really multiple ways that we could see another bull run for cryptocurrency and for Bitcoin. And it doesn't have to be, only one of them. There's multiple different ways that we could see massive run-ups in the coming year or two. Some of them being maybe backed, maybe an ETF approval, just more mainstream adoption. Another one being, if it really succeeds as a hedge against an economic collapse, that could in turn also lead into a cryptocurrency bull run as well. So there are a few different ways that this could actually happen. It says here, complicating matters is the fact that a host of new exchanges, custodial services, and trading platforms are coming that could attract large institutions into this market. There might be a sizable amount of Wall Street money coming into Bitcoin over the coming year. Again, I think that further validates and further makes it possible that crypto could be used as a hedge in the future. So I guess maybe leave a comment down below what you think. Do you think that really, I think Bitcoin was created, right after the 2008 financial collapse because of this and as a response to this to give us another option? And do you think if the time would come around in the next year or two, or even sooner or farther out than that, do you think that crypto and Bitcoin could be used as a hedge against a future collapse? Do you think we could see billions and billions of dollars move into cryptocurrency as opposed to staying in traditional financial markets? Really, I mean, that was kind of what caused the inception of cryptocurrency. So I guess ultimately that could be very important. And this article I want to go over very briefly by Mary Hewlett, published on Cointelegraph. Crypto markets see widespread wave of green. Bitcoin pushes $6,500. One thing I want to point out here is that Joseph Young, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the crypto commentator, underscored the comparatively higher trade volumes for Bitcoin, which today are around 4.4 billion for the 24-hour period, according to CoinMarketCap, showing that it had stagnated kind of between 3.2 and 3.6 billion many times throughout October. As well, it talks a lot about the other coins that are up, but I wanted to end on the very last paragraph here. It says, securities lawyer Jake Chervinsky emphasized on crypto that today's date, November 5th, is the deadline for the public to submit statements to the U.S. SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, as part of the Commission's review of various previously rejected Bitcoin ETF proposals. Some crypto industry figures, including CNBC's Rand Neuner in a tweet Friday, have implied that the November 5th deadline pertains to an actual SEC decision, which, as Chervinsky notes, that is not the case. So that's important to keep in mind, that this is not the deadline for them to make an actual decision from the SEC. And here we go. So I talked about this in my last video about the U.S. kind of, I guess maybe stagnating, or at least not coming out with very clear guidelines on crypto regulation in general, but this is more about ICOs. SEC officials says plain English guidance on ICOs is coming. This was posted by Nicholas Day and Aaron Stanley on CoinDesk. Basically, I just want to sum this up very quickly. The US SEC plans to clarify when and how cryptocurrencies may be classified as securities. So the SEC director, William Hinman, said basically that they're going to try and put out stuff in more plain English so there's not as much of a gray area. I think there's plenty of gray areas in this entire space, whether it's in regards to taxation, whether it's in regards to how crypto is classified. Pretty much the entire crypto space is a huge gray area right now. And so any news saying that the SEC and US regulators are kind of trying to figure things out and give plain English takes on this stuff is good, I think, because it's going to be needed and it's going to happen, and the sooner the better, so people can understand really more about this space. Because again, this space is so new still. There's so much stuff that doesn't quite fit in the existing framework that still has to. So yeah, we'll see about that. And so this article posted by Amkar Godbol on CoinDesk, this is just about the Bitcoin price moving towards 6,800 potentially in the short term after this bullish breakout. Again, we saw some resistance there, so we're still kind of testing that. Currently, I think Bitcoin's price is right around 6,400 US dollars still, which is pretty good. But it needs to really find acceptance above the 50-day moving average, and then we could potentially push higher. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.